Happy Saturday. Welcome back to What She Said Sports. It is a lounge day Saturday. All right, so this morning, imagine getting your coffee and you get a notification. Shedeur Sanders is live on Twitch. I'm like, what? I caught one. Okay, so I open Twitch and there's Shedeur Sanders getting ready for a day at the office. The Cleveland Browns facility getting ready, and we saw his colleague, who I think he's becoming fast friends with, Quinshawn Junkins, and they were getting ready. You can see the Browns locker room. You can see the jerseys hanging up. I'm like, oh, a sneak peek because we've never seen this before. And I was thinking, things are changing. Things are changing. Then I'm like, for who? Okay, so check it out. I thought about this. I said, Coach Prime uh, was a marketing genius, in my opinion. As an NFL player in college where prime time was born, then you go to the NFL, prime time effect. It's multiple documentaries and a new one coming out in 2026 about Coach Prime. And then he goes on to post NFL career and he becomes, I guess, like a commentator for the NFL on somebody's network. But, that's like 17 to 18 years. So he's staying in the media. So I was like, well, why is it that the NFL seems so against Shedeur Sanders? I told y'all yesterday how it seems that they're coming out with it's going to be a media circus. It's a lot. Having a Hall of Fame dad is a lot. And now, we talked about it. Nepotism is in the NFL. We talked about how marketing yourself is what these players are learning in college. NIL been out since 2021. So what's the big deal? And I'm thinking to myself, the NFL is not against branding and marketing. It just seems like when it comes to the players, they want you to shut up and dribble, and not all. Anybody remember the Super Bowl? Before the Super Bowl, there were all kind of festivities. There were all kind of interviews. Coach Prime was interviewed by ESPN on the middle of Bourbon Street, right? And that's what taking in the local flavor. They had a lot of people from New Orleans participating in the Super Bowl. In fact, the young lady that created the logo is from the city. She's an African American creative. And so they respect creativity. They respect brands. They even understand the brand power that social media has. How do you know? Remember the flag football game that took place before the Super Bowl? We saw Shedeur, and people were like, "Oh, he didn't work out at the Shrine Bowl. He didn't play in the Shrine Bowl, but he's playing in a flag football game." He didn't play in the game. He was just there, had on one of the jerseys. The games had celebrities in them, and two of the games were headed by social media stars. Kai Sanat and I Show Speed were the captains for the two respective teams. And I said, "Oh, the NFL want to get that YouTube audience, that streamer Twitch audience, the younger audience, and that's good. That's what you're supposed to do because you're a business, and you can't just bank on people that are getting older and moving on, passing on in life. You have to bank on people who are 18 to 25. That's that demographic that people want, and you know, it seems that they understand that. So why, when it comes to the players, they want them after the way Shedeur has been treated, saying that a media circus would now be in Cleveland because of Shedeur, that it's a shit show that's going to be in Cleveland now. What? And I asked the question, y'all talking about the prime effect? No, they're talking about Shedeur's effect. See, Shedeur knows Kai Cenat, Duke Dennis, I Show Speed, all of the celebrities that are out there that the NFL brought in because of their views, their popularity, but they don't want Shedeur to have the popularity. That's great for them, but not for Shedeur. Well, we live in a modern era where YouTube been out since 2009 and MySpace was out before that. Social media is not going anywhere, and there are people who have careers solely because of social media. And I mean lucrative careers. Look at Shannon Sharp's success with the Cat Williams podcast, to the point Shannon Sharp had a few companies bidding for his content for $100 million. He's not the only person. There are people that are 18 that have never had a traditional job because they've been on TikTok since they were 13, or they've been on YouTube since they were 13. And they take it from YouTube and expand it to TikTok and then Instagram and Facebook. And depending on what you do, if you're in sports, you can be on Twitter, Threads, YouTube, and that's it. You no longer need to get a job at one of these big box networks to be a sports analyst, commentator. There are people who have careers just analyzing football plays, and they don't work for the big box networks. So, why, if the NFL understands how valuable having Kai Sanat and I Show Speed be the captains of their flag football game, why they don't find it valuable that Shedeur Sanders has the same star power on social media and even bigger with college football? His legacy as number two in Colorado is major. In college football is major. And over 3 million fans and followers that can fill up 42 NFL stadiums. And there are only 32 NFL stadiums. So why are they so against it when it's Shedeur? Travis Hunter also has a brand. But Travis and Shedeur are two different people who deserve to be respected for their individual differences rather than pit them together. I told y'all Travis going number two, where Shedeur would have been drafted number two, is no different than people trying to rub Jackson Dart, second quarterback, off the board in Shadeur's face. And then handing him the number 12 because it was assigned to him. He didn't choose it. Two was already gone. They gave him 12. That's Travis Hunter's number. When you think 12, you think Travis Hunter. So is the league telling him to be more like Travis Hunter? Why do you say that? Because one of the interviews he did in Cleveland with the Cleveland media on the football field at the practice facility for the Browns, I told y'all the reporter used the word assimilate for Shedeur to assimilate. That's the wrong word. Assimilate means become similar. They're asking him to strip himself of who he is and his legacy and his celebrity status. The same thing they went after with Kai Sanat and I Show Speed. We want you to leave yours behind while we pay them for theirs. That makes no sense. We want you to be like Travis, seen and not heard, only on the football field. So last year, in NI evaluation, Shedeur led the way right until the end, and Travis came right up to number two with his Adidas deal. Shedeur already had a Nike deal. Shedeur's marketability is through the roof. And now the NFL wants him to shed himself of his marketability or to, I only want to see you as it pertains to the NFL. And then when their careers are over, like when Coach Prime's career was over, Coach Prime was one of the few black athletes, not many. There were several others, but not a lot. When you think about the numbers of NFL players that retire every year and that are black, when you think about the numbers of black NFL players who go broke, then you think of the very slim numbers that transition into media like Coach Prime did for 17, 18 years because of his marketability. They wanted his marketability to work for them too, but not for Shedeur. They know Travis has marketability, but you don't really see it. Nike is bigger than Adidas. The stars that Adidas has, you don't really kind of see off the field. You see them on the field. Pat Mahomes, Travis Hunter. And then Cam Ward went with Under Armour. So when you think Nike, Adidas, and Under Armour, you know Nike's the biggest. You see it the most. Adidas is there. And then there's Under Armour, the newest comer. So I asked myself, why on earth what the NFL want players since 2021 with NIL who study finance, who take NIL classes, who have agents, whose parents, since they were in high school, have had parent managed social media accounts, building up their brand so that they can get offers to go to college and play the sport that they love, be it tennis, rugby, anything, baseball. And then when I finish college, after my brand is built up, and if I play football, the NFL wants me to leave it at the door or make sure it's not bigger than the NFL brand. Which is it? So earlier today, after I posted about Shedeur, who I refer to as two, because that's where his legacy was built. Never go away from what worked for you. If it worked for you, if that's where you built your legacy, you don't go away from it. So after I posted the video saying congratulations to two, thank you for giving us a peek into your daily NFL journey. Uh, Keep going, young king. Thank you too. I saw a video on X where Shedeur was saying, don't call him two. He feels like if you call me two now, it's disrespectful. And I said, there's that assimilation. It's happening. People noticed that when they were at practice taking a group photo, some of his colleagues put up wrist up, hashtag wrist up, but he put up two fingers. He didn't want to put up the wrist up. Now, I recognize that Shedeur is young, but Shedeur doesn't recognize what's happening to him. He doesn't recognize that they are going to keep pouncing until he stops this. And he did. Even when his colleagues did it as a show of support because they know who he is. They know how huge it is. I saw a baseball player doing it. He didn't. Moving away from it to get along, to be accepted. And now, don't call me two. It's disrespectful. In the football world, even if it's college, when you say 12, everybody thinks of Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter built his brand with the number 12. He has it in the NFL. Jacksonville is happy to sell jerseys with it and continue his legacy from college. As they told him, we want you to be exactly who you are. Don't change anything about yourself. Meaning Travis just all football, go out here and win and fish every now and then. The only thing we've seen Travis go away from is celebrating his relationship publicly. And we know why. Because it was working against him. But there's nothing about the number two or wrist up, hashtag wrist up, the Shedeur Sanders Celly that is working against Shedeur. It's just that the NFL doesn't seem to like it. They don't seem to want him to have his celebrity status. It's too much. It's a media circus. It's a show. Now that's just not right because there's no justifiable reason for it. You went after Kai Sanat and I Show Speed for their celebrity, the same celebrity that Shedeur's has, social media. And you want him to shed himself of it. And you're fine with Travis because Travis, although it's very, very popular, Shedeur Sanders is still the bigger star, the more well-known star outside of football. Everybody doesn't watch football. Everybody doesn't know who Travis Hunter is. There are some people that know who Travis Hunter is because of the disrespect he endured publicly after one of the biggest games of his college career, which is why you see Travis probably at the behest and advice of people keeping his relationship private because there are many people who don't agree with him staying in a relationship where he's been repeatedly publicly disrespected because public disrespect is intentional. And there are too many people out here who've been in the same situation that have the experience to know what Travis doesn't at the age of 21 and a lack of experience in romantic relationships is if that's how it starts, that's likely how it's going to end. So things are switching. Now we see Shedeur moving away from something that served him, that built him up, his brand that he built, that people love. Don't call me two. I'm not gonna call him two, but I'm not calling him 12. Because when I say 12 in football, that's Travis Hunter. And the message the NFL is sending when they gave him the 12, be more like Travis. There are people who know that Travis is him on the field, but when it comes to off the field and personal matters, he lacks confidence. And during that time, Shedeur Sanders and Coach Prime was praised for his sons being raised right. Something we heard Kevin Stefanski say not too long ago where Shedeur was concerned. Not shacking up, not putting a woman on your joint bank account in college after you work so hard for your fame and your wealth, not letting just some random woman leech off of it because they met you when you were already a star in high school. They saw your stardom, you didn't. Shedeur was praised for focusing on football, protecting what he's built up. Coach Prime was praised for raising his sons right. Shiloh, Bucky, Shedeur, not the stereotypical baby daddies shacking up with a woman or being validated by a relationship. Travis and Shedeur have individual similarities and differences that honestly they should be respected for, not pitted against each other like the NFL has tried to do. Oh, let's make Travis Hunter the face of the league. Why wouldn't you make the number one overall pick the face of the league? Because he's a quarterback. 16 of 32 black starting quarterbacks. Just as a reminder, the number two pick in the draft, Shedeur Sanders, would have been number 17, giving black QB1s the majority. 17 of 32 quarterbacks. So there's no justifiable reason why the NFL would chase down Ice Show Speed and Kai Cenat and pay them to bring their celebrity and viewers to NFL events, but not want Shedeur Sanders to celebrate his celebrity and partake in his viewers, which are somewhat the same viewers as the guys that they paid Kai Cenat and Ice Show Speed. You want them to come through with non-NFL football players, but you don't want them to come through with NFL players. Why? So they can transition. They can't transition like Coach Prime did after the NFL. You want them to go broke. Have y'all ever stopped to wonder with the numbers of people retiring from the NFL each year that are black, why more of them don't transition like Coach Prime did to media? Even with social media, you're starting to see multiple sports athletes starting to have their own podcast. Carmelo Anthony, successful. Jeff Teague, successful. Shedeur Sanders, successful. You don't hear the NBA saying anything about LeBron James having a podcast or celebrity. They want you to bring your celebrity. The more people that can watch, the merrier. Maybe because the NBA is in a position where they are losing viewers. So, yes, please use your celebrity to get viewers here. And maybe if the NFL starts losing viewers, which they already are, they're losing an audience that they've been coveting since 1920. And they're gaining a newer audience whose first love seems to be soccer. And then there's the black audience, which represent the majority of the players in the NFL. But that just doesn't seem good enough for the NFL. So while Shedeur is young and he doesn't understand that he's being pounced on to assimilate and be similar to Travis, who was drafted number two instead of him, who's being paid handsomely instead of Shedeur, while he doesn't understand that moving away from his legacy that he built into or risked up is stripping him of his marketability, trying to leave it in the past when Travis is being celebrated. And the only reason, and it's said on the NFL network, Travis brought in his 12, but Shedeur was drafted in the fifth round, so he can't choose. Now we know that that's not true, that he's not a true fifth round talent. So what we're seeing is Shedeur be pounced on. And slowly but surely, Shedeur Sanders assimilate to be more like Travis Hunter. Let me know your thoughts. That seems to be the NFL preference. We've talked about how the NFL seems to want its black players to be submissive and not have the audacity to ask for a trade or to prefer to play quarterback, their childhood dream, rather than wide receiver, or to be marketable so they can have a life before, during the NFL, and after they're retired. If you retire from the NFL at 30 and you live to be 80, that is 50 years. Look how well being marketable has worked for Coach Prime before, during, and after his NFL career. That's who these NFL guys should be trying to mimic if you are a black player to prevent going broke. Your marketability is key. Don't let anybody whittle down what made you great. Wrist up.
Accustomed to. It's number 12, not the 2 that he wore at the University of Colorado. Some people in Sanders' orbit did not seem overly thrilled that that number was given to DeAndre Carter instead. But when you're a 5th round pick, you don't necessarily have those options. But when you're a 5th round pick, you don't necessarily have those options.
Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.